Hey folks, Pat Deegan here. You know, the other day I had the privilege of talking with a young man who had a couple years back been diagnosed with a schizophrenia spectrum disorder, and he was doing pretty good and thinking that perhaps he'd like to go to medical school so that he could become a professional and be able to help other people the way folks had helped him. And this was becoming his dream for his life. But unfortunately, he was really nervous because his therapist and other professionals in his life told him it's probably too stressful to think about going to graduate school, to think about doing medical school with your diagnosis. And he wanted to know, Pat, what do you think of that? Of course, I'm a person who was diagnosed with schizophrenia as a teenager and went on and did get my doctorate in clinical psychology. And you know, I would just advise, and I did advise him, that professionals are very poor at having a crystal ball and being able to predict anybody's future, irrespective of their diagnosis. And that really what matters is that we set our sights on where our heart is calling us. Where do we feel called? Where do we feel our vocation is emerging? And then take one step and the next step and the next step towards that goal. So, you know, I began very small with courses in English Composition 1 at the local community college, but eventually, even though I had a hospitalization in the middle of it, slowly over the years was able to get to my goal of getting my doctorate. And part of that journey is a journey of discernment about following my heart. For instance, I realized that about halfway through my second year doctorate, I was doing an internship and I realized I really don't want to be a psychotherapist. And at first I thought that was awful, but then I realized there are many, many other things that I can do with a doctorate in clinical psychology, and I let that lead me on my way. So I think that set the goal, but also one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with that single step. Don't let anybody tell you what your future can be. Dream big.